Hello everyone and welcome back. Uh, so when this video goes live, the community, I already made a post on the community forums for the loading screen artwork contest. So I will have a link to that in the description of the video. But for this video, we're going to be doing the heat-based pathway this time. Before we did photosynthesis, now we're going to be doing thermosynthesis. Alright, off we go. So compared to photosynthesis, there's a lot more moving involved with thermosynthesis because of how it all works. So I'll show that once we can actually pull that tab up. But there's a whole heat gradient related thing that goes on, so you have to move between them in order to produce energy. That's really where that's going to come into play quite a bit. Also down in this patch, you have to be a lot more careful of the hydrogen sulfide because there's going to be a lot more of that than in the previous patches we were in the last game that we did with photosynthesis. Oh, that is going to be the one we do after this video, which once again we're going to, the first video in this is going to be me going up to getting into the early multicellular, and then the next video for it is going to be the multicellular itself part of this. That's pretty good. Yeah, we're going to want our species to be a lot more active, but here you can see sort of what's going on. The red and blue are different temperature zones. And down here, we can make sure you'll see this bar. I believe we want to try to be around here, make sure we're getting the best results. Yeah, he can. Also, I don't know if this is just like an error, just showing simply 4 degrees Celsius or whatnot, or if it's for every 4 degrees Celsius you generate an additional amount of glucose. I'm not entirely sure the specifics of that, but we generally want to be around here. Get too cold, we're not going to be able to produce as much glucose. Get too hot, can't produce enough either. Get that out of the way. Unpause. Of course, we're going to be focusing on, well, I think I almost took some radiation damage. Of course, we're going to be having this be our main way of producing glucose. So we're not going to be using hydrogen sulfide or iron for additional ATP or anything like that. Yeah, I said iron for sulfide. Ouch. A little bit of damage there. So I'll try to eat some other cells because we're probably, even though we're going to be a producer, we might also want to be somewhat capable of going after other cells. Why does that already out of evil being a little weird? So that means that species in here. Yeah, it's right in there. So if you're also looking at the bar on the bottom, you'll see how kind of staying in there will help me increase my glucose for a bit, but then it also to go down if I'm in the red area for too long. Because you're kind of trying, so I think the whole idea behind the actual chemistry of it is that the heat is causing the enzyme to kind of shift, and that is what allows it to do a reaction, which I know before was a reaction to make ATP, but now it's probably it's a reaction that helps generate glucose. But overall, the concept is still sort of the same, I would say. The heat is changing the protein or enzyme structure somewhat. Also, if we want to get a nucleus, we're going to want to make sure we get a good amount up here. And I probably will end up switching to one of the other membranes. We'll probably end up being silica or calcium carbonate, since it has the best reduction osmoregulation cost, which will be better to get the 20 difference that we need for the actual nucleus to be added in. Because I know eventually we'll have oxygen in this patch a little bit, increase that. That'll keep us safe in the future. All right. Big part of this whole build is going to be oftentimes trying to make sure you don't stay in certain areas for too long. So close. I'm going to start taking potential damage. Yeah, there it is. There's the damage. And I'm dead. This is not an easy one. And funnily enough, I know I said I would do testing with this before. I didn't test anything. Although, likely the reason right now we're losing ATP a lot quicker, well, not ATP, but glucose a lot quicker than probably because I have more hydrogenases. Yeah, I think that's what it is. So I'm not exactly, I can't even engulf it. So I'm not able to actually generate enough glucose to keep me going for a long time. I can just reach this area. All right. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I actually do that, because we're gonna need that decrease. So now we can't engulf stuff. That shouldn't be too much of a problem as long as we can just keep moving at a pace that is good. It's not fully familiar with how the actual method itself works for the thermosynthesis, but we're learning as we go. Of course, chemosynthesizing proteins would be great, but we're trying to focus on just thermosynthesis right now. And I want to do an iron-only one at some point as well, so I don't really want to mess with the iron either. See some of the glucose over here. That should help keep us going for a bit longer. Oh, glucose meters that stuck over there. Okay, even though it's risky, that is getting us close to where we can actually get the nucleus put in. Although that's gonna be a really rough time, though. That's gonna be a little scary once we get the nucleus in. Like one more of these, maybe two more. I'm trying to think if I could do one more hydrogenase and then a thermosynthase. Can't really defer that for a while. Alright. So for the most part, though, as long as I'm staying in the warmer areas, I'm doing fine. It's a nice little patch of warmth I can make use of. Let's see. Do one more of that. Can I do one more of this? No. repeat that again. All right. I'm going to try to do the nucleus in the next generation. Although, just to be safe, I think I'm going to save before I go in the editor. Just in case it ends up being a terrible idea. There's some glucose here, but there's also hydrogen sulfide, which is a problem. Oh, I'll just make more hydrogen sulfide now. One more generation with thermoplasts. I think I can afford that. Gonna be a little bit quicker. Actually, that's a bit more. I just had to tell the amount of cost it's going to be, especially the modifiers sometimes. But just based on the normal membrane, I try to go at least to 20. This having 20 more than the movement, or like ATB usage and whatnot. That's just the normal cost of the regular membrane. Forget that it's a thing. Let's do it right here, since clearly I can generate glucose at this point. So may as well try to build up my glucose storage. Although after this, I'm definitely going to try and, I'm hoping the organelle version of the thermosynthase is present. It is. Okay. will say that I feel like it's a very not forgiving play style to play this way. As you can see, if I even make slight mistakes, it causes terrible consequences. Yeah, I'm not gonna make it. I know I have a pretty decent population size, or guess not. Let's see. Okay, there was an autosave. So maybe there's a bit more sitting around than I initially anticipated. I'm keeping a very close eye on my actual glucose bar to see how it's generating. Just right here. I think I was gonna let my glucose could have been higher, but it's going down now. Okay. In growth order, we definitely want to move the thermoplast up higher. I'm trying to keep the nucleus at the bottom. Yeah, I want to bring that down. It's been barely moving. At least we have a population count. I don't want to do it, but I think I'll make at least a bit of iron. And this will help. I didn't want to do that, but I think it's only the best option at this point. And again, that's the thing with evolution. Sometimes things are going to happen simply because it's the better option. Like in this, I wanted to make something that was fully using heat, but clearly I needed something else in order to keep going, so I had to use something that at least generated mainly just ATP, so it wasn't producing glucose at the same time. That means you still have the problem dealing with hydrogen sulfide, but we at least are generating ATP in a pretty decent way. I should just sit here and let the bar fill up. It's going up real fast. I like that. All right. Well, that is a little bit more. So we're getting like double the glucose for less than, not even double the amount of glucose. Well, using like roughly, I would say 1.5 or 1 3/4 the glucose used from here to generate more than double the ATP. That's good, of course. I'm going to see if they have anything else in therapeutic specifically about that. Yes, this is what I was talking about with the whole enzyme thing. A lot of enzymes, when they go outside their temperature ranges, will completely be denatured and will not be usable anymore. But this would be like a theoretical enzyme that will change shape with temperature, so it kind of denatures, allowing it to do this reaction, like maybe one time, and then, but if it gets cooled down, it's able to go back to its previous shapes, then it can do it again. So I have no idea. Okay, so there's definitely things that have gotten to the surface patches then. So not really anything I can do either that would be a benefit, so back we go. Can do a loop there. Grab some iron. Just sit right here. Alright. I should have known there'd be a lot of sitting around with this again. And again, unlike uh, photosynthesis, at least, you kind of have to be a little more micromanaging, I guess you could say, with the cell itself, since you have to make sure you're staying kind of in these nice spots in order to keep producing glucose. While with photosynthesis, you kind of just have the sunlight and, well, you're good. All right. Generation 13. Can't do that yet. Sure is some more of that. And that may seem weird, but this will be less deletions I have to do next generation, then I can get at least one of these on a little bit quicker. I haven't even looked at the evolutionary tree at all. There's actually a... It came off. Interesting. Oh, it has a melanosome. That's what's going on. I haven't really utilized that a whole lot. Oh, that whole branch of life went extinct. Same with that one. That, right. Oh yeah, I think I remember that. I just didn't point it out right away, but yeah, I do believe one of the initial cells was just another hex for some reason. Which I've almost never seen that happen before. So really, we've got this smaller branch over here. We got this much larger one. Then, of course, ours are just generally been suffering because, well, we're thermosynthetic mainly. And it's not very easy to utilize, even for the AIs. It's a predominant, so it's like this one has iron in there, iron as well. These other ones have some other form of glucose generation with like iron, well, at least that's HP generation. All these other ones will probably have just had, that one had a lot of iron generation though. That could have been hunted down though, possibly. Although this whole line was having issues the entire time, so clearly something was up. Oh, none of the poison pilus. And also iron, but it did go extinct. But a lot of the ones that are surviving now have a little iron synthesis available to them. might keep some of the more synthase ones in here because of the slight glucose generation, well, slight ATP generation they have until we get the ferroplast. Low on iron. Let's make our way over here. Get some iron. And find a good spot to just chill. It's relatively good. Actually see how rough we had it at some points. So drop down here, got a little increase in so I think during that one we went, I think probably after the nucleus, and we've been slowly getting higher, which is good. You should get ATP higher than 15 for the binding agent, which probably means more of these. Yeah, I'm going to start assuming that we're not moving a ton for this. So there's going to be some oxygen in this patch. So now 2 of us, and then 2 small things. Do that, I guess. Okay. Excess ATP will probably be including like the movement speed part. Alright. We're gonna have to go and get some iron real quick. So just keep on getting phosphate by sitting here as well. That works out. Well, probably do that to get even more excess ATP production. It's not going to speed up the ferroplast showing up, but it should help increase that. And it looks like I can just sit here as well. You can see that my phosphate bar just increased rapidly because of all the phosphate that I've had stored up because this phosphate chunk right next to me. I don't know why they're trying to go after that cell. It's not like you can eat it. Your membrane doesn't allow you to do that. You can see that it really just becomes sort of just a lot of sitting around. I didn't realize it would end up being the case with this one. The eukaryotic cell popped up. Okay, and then we got the binding agent as well. All right. Well, in order to move on and say that we're done with this part at generation 17, we're going to enter the early multicellular. Alrighty then. Well, that was quite the challenge, I will admit. You all saw the struggles that I had. Also, I guess, even though I did it in the photosynthesis one, I think I'm going to show a bit more of cell diversification. We'll probably have a few cells that are almost designated to very much doing just the iron. And this is just ATP generators as like backups, little backup batteries. I guess you could think of it that way. With, of course, the main thing being, of course, the temperature still being most of the cells, but add some little batteries in there. Yeah, alright. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you're interested in trying to do doing some artwork that could become loading screens for Thrive, or at least get featured in my video on that project, then please use the link that I'll have posted in the description below, assuming I do not forget to do that. And have a good day, everyone.